All righty, welcome to Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, and my, oh my, what a week this is going to be. Has been already, quite frankly, but will be tomorrow and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. It's exactly how we love it. It's the Chico Borman Show right here on the Big Play Sports Network. Great to have you along. You can follow us on Twitter at Chico Show CLE. You can also head over to YouTube and find us there. And if you are not a subscriber, feel free to type in the Chico Borman Show, hit subscribe, and you'll be all set to go. We do stream this show every day live on iHeartRadio. Also, my buddy Matt Fontana, his show from 9 to 11. So you want to check that out, and wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, doesn't matter. We're available there as well. Well, as you can imagine, plenty to get to. I'm just going to come out and say it and stop beating around the bush, because I've been honestly, I've been beating around the bush the last few days. I've been tiptoeing around it. I don't even really know why. I don't know why I do a lot of the things I do. I don't know why I say a lot of the things I say. But I've been tiptoeing around this fact. This is the most for me, I'll speak for myself only. This is the most anticipation, the most anxiety, the most jacked up I've ever been for an Ohio State-Michigan game. And, as many know, I spent many mid-90s in Columbus, even beyond. Took me a little while. So, I mean, this rivalry, and I've been a fan my entire life, but this, I was telling Bohm before the show that I've come to the conclusion that this Ohio State-Michigan game coming up on Saturday checks every single box. And I'm going to get into this in a moment as far as what all those boxes are and how in previous years you didn't always have that. This matchup Saturday at high noon in Ann Arbor checks every single box. And I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't just beyond excited for it. I can't wait for Saturday to get here. And that doesn't mean that, certainly Browns in Denver, and we got plenty to talk about there. Cavs with another huge win last night. Yeah, before you want to send Jared Allen on the first plane out of Cleveland, let's give him a little bit of time, because that dude has shut down in consecutive games, pretty much shut down, or at least really made life hell for Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid. Cavaliers needing overtime last night. They get it done in Philadelphia. Those won 5 of 6. I didn't know, especially without Donovan Mitchell, did anybody really think they could do that last night? I didn't. They've got the second end of their back-to-back. They're home tonight against the Miami Heat. But to do what they did last night and to do it without Donovan Mitchell, to see Jared Allen, who was criticized, and a lot of it justifiably so after the playoffs last year. But to see Jared Allen go out there against Nikola Jokic, against Joel Embiid, and play the way he did, I think is incredible. Craig Porter Jr., hello. This guy has been one hell of a story. Our buddy Chris Fedor did a great feature on him. He was a two-way player, signed that 10-day contract with all the injuries, and he has been, I don't want to say lights out, like lighting it up, but he's just making every right pass. He's hitting every right shot. He looks so in control. Rookie, two-way player? No. That looks like a 5-year seasoned vet. Part of that is playing. Wichita State of late has been a very good basketball program and a very physical, demanding program. And I think you're seeing that out of Craig Porter Jr. But absolutely, Bohm, I loved what I saw from the Cavaliers. I don't know how they're going to, do tonight. But, man, I didn't know if they had that in them last night. They did, and I'm pumped up watching these guys.
Yeah, it's amazing to see them rally together and get these upsets without Donovan. out there in the fold. The one thing that that irks me about it is that now fans are starting to turn on Donovan Mitchell because they're seeing success with this Cavs team. It's utterly ridiculous to be saying now after what we saw, like, move on from Donovan.
Yeah.
Now, there is something to be said about running the offense when you insert Donovan into it.
And how Darius looks much more comfortable, healthy, and with that. Yes, you're right.
And it feels like they move the ball a little bit better, a little less ISO ball, but I think there's a way to balance that out. And just because you're seeing more success right now without Donovan does not mean that you should, just trade him. That's absurd.
And let's go back. I'm glad you brought this up, Boom, because I think let's go back. This is where this whole thing originated, is that people feel wrongly, I might add, like that he can't wait to get out of Cleveland. So right away, as soon as somebody thinks that around here, and I get it, you've been burned. But, go back to after the postseason, and he, of course, could have played much better in the postseason. He didn't. So that's strike one. But then he just wants to be in New York. He's never done anything to indicate that he wants out of Cleveland, that he doesn't enjoy Cleveland, that he doesn't enjoy his teammates. It's okay to like New York. I'm with you. Now I'm hearing things about his hamstring, and I see people on Twitter, they're like, oh, yeah, soreness, you missed this many games. Well, the reason why you do it and you're cautious about it is because if you bring him back and this becomes a season-long injury, by season-long, I don't mean he's out for the season, but it never really heals, well, guess what? Then all of a sudden, late in the year, when you really need him to nail down a seed, to get into the postseason, he's not there. So, let him take his time. And in the end, this is actually working out pretty damn well because it's giving Craig Porter an opportunity to do what he's done. Darius Garland's getting more confidence. And I think more than anything, this front court, Jared Allen, again, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes on Donovan Mitchell, wants out of Cleveland and can't wait to get out of Cleveland. And, oh, my God, he's playing golf with Allen Houston. What are we going to do? We got to pump the brakes on that. We got to pump the brakes on Jared Allen. Now, I know, we'll find out come postseason, right? That's fair. I totally agree with that. If he has another deer in the headlights and gets pushed around physically in this postseason, if they get there, and I think they will, then okay, we can have that conversation. But last year was one of those, even though nobody, myself included, saw that coming against the Knicks, the ass whooping, the physicality, all of it. There was going to be growing pains, and there's no shortcuts. That's just it. There are no shortcuts. When you're an NBA team and you're trying to find your way, and you do find your way, the next step is, okay, we had a great regular season, but oh yeah, the postseason is just an entirely different animal. And that really came up huge, unfortunately, against the Cavs with the New York Knicks. But, right now, why would you not feel great about these guys? Why would they not get hopefully a huge, huge crowd and they will. They will. The crowd will be out tonight. It's the day before Thanksgiving. I believe, is this still, Bohm, is the day before / night before Thanksgiving still like the busiest bar holiday or whatever you want to cook? Because I just remember when I was in college and even, first, say, 10 years out of college. Like this was Wednesday night was always where it was at. It was fun before Thanksgiving.
It's when everyone's back in town, right? So you see all your old school buddies. And I have heard it referred to as Blackout Wednesday before.
Yes, that's fair. Hangover Thursday. And I always felt bad because it would always start out. Now, full disclosure, I'm 11 years sober, so it gives you an idea of when I did. I pretty much had fun. But I would always say, I'm not going to get, I want to be, and then, Thanksgiving the next day, you're just useless. Not that I'm super helpful now, but then it was just, you're eating, nodding off, football, nodding, nap. Where's there he is. So, but I don't know. But all I know is tonight there's going to be a lot of people. Nobody has to work tomorrow for the most part. A lot of people are going to be at this game tonight against the Miami Heat. I don't know how JB is going to do it with the lineup and how I don't know. And the other guy that's out, by the way, is Karis LeVert. And Karis LeVert was out off to a great start before he got banged up. No Isaac Okoro. And that's the thing. Without the guys that really are your kind of nitty-gritty, and I'm talking about, in this case, Jared Allen and Isaac Okoro, without those guys that are your nitty-gritty, like, buckle-down defensive players, Okoro on the perimeter, and, of course, Jared Allen down low, he comes back, he's starting to get in that flow. Now you're an entirely different defensive team. And, yeah, I heard from a buddy of mine who he claims to be a Cavs fan, but really all he likes to do is just crap all over him every single time he gets, every chance he gets. And he's like, well, their offense is garbage. Dean Wade shouldn't even be on a roster. I'm like, well, Dean Wade's starting because Donovan Mitchell's out, and Dean Wade does provide an element of toughness and rebounding and defense. Is he, some prolific scorer? No. Are you drawing up plays for Dean Wade at the end of the game to make the winning shot? No. But I'm even more impressed because on the road against Joel Embiid in Philadelphia and Tyrese Maxey and those guys, you found a way to get it done. You out-rebounded the Philadelphia 76ers. Jared Allen made life, even though the numbers look good for Joel, and they did, he made life hell for him. He made him work for every bit of it. Certainly made Nikola Jokic in that win over the Nuggets, same thing. So good stuff from our Cleveland Cavaliers, and I'm going to be tuned in. I can't wait to watch this game tonight against Miami. If for no other reason, I want to see the crowd really get behind these guys. They have played very, very well. Winners of 5 of 6, 6 of 8. Been good stuff. Browns getting ready to take on the Broncos Sunday, late Sunday, 4 o'clock. You know how in the past, even this year, we've said, well, I'm not too worried about this game, but yet we were worried about this game. I'm not that worried about this game because I think Denver's kind of a fraud. Now, you always have to be worried because you don't know the great equalizer, turnovers, and his DTR. Denver's a pretty good defense, too. They're not on the level of the Browns. But can DTR play another clean game? Can Kevin Stefanski also manage another clean game while not just making them one-dimensional and not, having guys sitting on routes so you are getting easy turnovers? That remains to be seen. But the defense and the way they're playing and the way the Broncos offense is playing, and okay, Russell Wilson looks better. We better apologize to Russell. No, I don't think we're quite there. I like the Browns this Sunday against Denver. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying they're out. They're not going to be a team really that blows out anybody, and that's okay because right now in games decided by 3 points or less, 4 wins, 0 losses. 4 wins, 0 losses. That's a sign of great teams finding a way to get it done. Little things becoming big things. You're making special teams. You're flipping field position. You're obviously your field goal kicker, Dustin Hopkins. Yeah, statue. Dustin Hopkins is doing his thing, and your defense is obviously dynamic. But my palms are sweaty. It's only Wednesday. My palms are sweaty. There has not been, in my opinion, there has not been a bigger Ohio State-Michigan game than the one that we will have coming up this Saturday. Now, I realize the initial reaction to that is, wait a minute, Chico. You had, in 2006, you had 1 versus 2, and, that was for all the marbles, and I get that. The boxes that I'm checking this year that have not been checked in previous years basically is a lot of off-field stuff. And this is why you're hearing a lot of, wow, this really feels like, the 10-year war with Bo and Woody. Because a lot of the animosity, a lot of the downright hatred, they did respect each other, but the respect came out more after the rivalry, after they were done. They wanted to beat the living hell out of each other every single year. I mean, it was personal. It was a huge, huge deal. And as far as Jim Harbaugh, I'll say this. I don't know if he's going to be around next year because the more and more that comes out, it sounds like if he is in Ann Arbor next year, he's not going to be coaching many games because I think the NCAA is going to come down hard on him. But I will say this. He is the perfect adversary. And this is where these boxes are getting checked. Like Jim Harbaugh, forget about Bo. Like Bo at least was civil. Bo at least, like, you could respect Bo. Harbaugh doesn't give you, other than his resume, and he is a great coach. And, you know, he played and, of course, guaranteed the win. And, of course, he, you know, they won that game and all of that. But, like, Jim Harbaugh does not garner respect because he doesn't really respect other people. I would be willing to bet, I could be wrong, Bohm, I'd be willing to bet that how we feel right now, you know, in Ohio or just at Ohio State Nation, however you want to call it, how fans of Ohio State feel about Jim Harbaugh is probably how Michigan fans felt about Woody Hayes back in the day. Like, because Woody would, I mean, let's face it, when you say, I'm going for 2, and the only reason I went for 2 is because I couldn't go for 3, if the shoe was on the other foot, now we laugh and we love it as Buckeye fans, but if the shoe was on the other foot, I'd be like, you know what? Screw this guy. He's classless. But I think this is where we're at. I really believe how we feel about Jim Harbaugh is exactly how Michigan fans felt for years about Woody Hayes. Fair?
Yeah, the circumstances are definitely different to why.
Yes.
But yeah, I would say it's right about on par for that same level of hatred.
And it's, I mean, with Harbaugh, these guys continuing to deny this. These guys continuing to play, or not even deny it, because they haven't denied anything. That's part of the irony of this. You would think if you were so adamant about having your day in court, well, you know what, we'll just settle. If you were so adamant about, you know, coming out and lashing out and saying, you know what, this has been one big witch hunt, you guys have been after us since day one, that they would be screaming from the mountaintops about denials, and they haven't done that. Rather, they've played this victim card. And this is why you go to different sports over the years. Pete Rose is one that I always bring up. I respect the hell out of Pete Rose's game, okay? And I know if you're a Reds fan, you know, you can talk yourself into and probably he should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't disagree that he should be in the Hall of Fame. But I will say this, I can see why people don't want him in the Hall of Fame or won't let him in the Hall of Fame, because he did the same thing with his gambling scandal. Like, at some point, we are a very forgiving society. We are. And sometimes maybe even too forgiving when it comes to athletes, but that's the thing. If an athlete or celebrity, I shouldn't just say athlete, a celebrity shows remorse and shows that human side, like, you know what, I may be a star, I may make a lot of money, I may not be able to relate to you in many ways, but you know what? I'm a flawed human. I made mistakes. I have real feelings, and I screwed up, and I'm sorry. You know how far that goes with fans today? A long, long way. But when you take the opposite approach, which is the approach that like Pete Rose has taken, Barry Bonds has taken in regards to steroids, and now Jim Harbaugh with this, like, how can we even begin to like you? How can we even begin to respect you when this is how you act? At the same time, like, for the rivalry, he's the perfect adversary. Like I say, this game Saturday and the lead up to this game Saturday between Ohio State and Michigan, 2-3. And again, they have been they've clashed 3 times since 2016 like this. Since 2016 and since 2000, it's only happened 3 times throughout college football, and all 3, yes, you guessed it, Ohio State, Michigan. So there have been other big stakes games. But when you couple the stakes here, national championship, winning the rivalry, along with the pure hatred, and it's, like it or not, it's going to be a referendum. If Ryan Day doesn't win, Michigan's going to say, well, see, it doesn't matter. We don't need your signs. Signs or no signs, we're still going to kick your ass. We've beaten your ass 3 years in a row. So this is big for Ryan Day. Now, Ryan Day's going to say, you know what? You guys seem to forget that for a long time now, we've had your number. Even when I wasn't the head coach but was on staff, we kicked your ass. Urban Meyer, I wouldn't doubt if Urban Meyer broke Jim Harbaugh to the point where he started to look into cheating. Or somebody did. Because how are they going to be? Urban owned him. Say what you want about Urban, and guess what? Urban's also a pretty polarizing guy. Urban is also a very cocky, arrogant, and I absolutely, by the way, I absolutely love what he did or has done this week. And I didn't realize this, but apparently, Bohm, Urban has done this all year on the Fox pregame show. He will not say Michigan. He will only say Wolverines. So, like he said, he was on I think our buddy Carpenter, I think he was on Morning Juice on the Fan in Columbus this morning, and he said it was something along the lines of, yeah, well, if you're the University of Wolverines, he won't call them Michigan.
I kind of took that from him. Occasionally I'll let it slip, but I usually try to find any other term. Team up north, Wolverines, U of M. I don't. I try to avoid saying the actual word.
Yeah, I don't, and I don't think that makes me less of a fan. I don't. I
agree.
The M thing. I should very easily. There's one M in my name, another M. I should be. I don't. Well, partly because damn well I don't know how to do that. Like that would involve like a 3-day seminar on how I X out. That sort of
finding
thing.
the asterisk.
Yes, all of that. But, I don't need to do that for myself to know and everybody to know how much I've been like 2006. I know I keep going back to that game, but 2006, yes, the stakes were incredibly high. It was 1 versus 2, and it was for all the marbles, and it was. But in terms of the animosity, and I'm not saying this is a good or bad thing, but a lot of the animosity turned into respect, if not like a little bit of sorrow. Like, wow, this Bo died the day. I mean, and you can't script these things any better, because what all of this goes back to, what we're talking about now, and the the hatred and the paranoia and all this stuff. All of this is compared to, and everything will be compared to, that 10-year war between Woody and Bo. But again, like Woody and Bo, Bo was on Woody's staff, right? Miami. So, they had a relationship before that. They definitely had a relationship after. And as I said, in between, they respect each other, but they didn't want to talk about that. They wanted to beat each other's brains out in this game every year. But then, Woody Hayes wasn't even allowed to travel at the end of his life. Like, he was so fragile, and it's in that documentary. He was so fragile. Bo was being honored, and Woody grabbed some, I don't know if it was like a grad assistant or who it was, hopped in his truck and said, "You got to take me there. You've got to take me there. I've got to be there." And in the documentary, he's barely audible. Like, his voice, he's just very fragile. He goes home, and I think it was 2 days later he died. 2 or 3 days later he died. But damn it, he was going to be there for his buddy. When Bo had a heart attack, and same thing, Bo with Woody. So it all goes back to that sort of thing. But 2006, like, there was that respect factor. There is none here. I think each program, each head coach respects how good the other one is. Whether they want to admit it or not, they know that Saturday's going to be a full day, 3 hours of just knockdown, drag out. That's what it should be, right? So neither coach, no matter how tough it is to admit it, and they won't admit it, knows this is going to be, these guys are good. Ohio State's not taking Michigan lightly. Michigan sure as hell isn't taking Ohio State lightly. But this is where we go beyond that of we really just hate you. We hate the fact that you've linked our coach, if you're Ohio State, to the NCAA getting their hands on this stuff when it's not even close to being true. We hate the fact that you guys have played the role of victims when all along you knew what was going on. If you're Michigan, you hate the fact that, and they still believe it, it really has gotten to that, I know everything is to Seinfeld, when Costanza's like, Jerry, it's not a lie if you believe it. Like, that's how Michigan operates right now with this thing. It's not a lie if you believe it. We didn't know who Connor Stallions was. It's not a lie if you tell yourself it enough times and believe that you had no idea who he was. We didn't do anything more than what other teams were doing. It's not a lie if you believe that you did nothing wrong and you didn't take it that extra mile. We all know the truth. We all know the truth. But I'm telling you right now, this makes it so much better. Like I said, it checks every box. Maybe I'm being hyperbolic. Maybe I'm being in the moment. But I don't think I am. All the years I've been on the earth and really able to take in this rivalry, even years when I was in Columbus for it, I've never been this hyped, yet this like kind of like anger. Like, I want this game on Saturday so bad. As I get older, unfortunately, I hate when people say this, and did say this to me when I was younger, that as you get older, priorities will change a bit. And they do. Now, this game is always big. It's always huge. I always watch the documentary, as I've been telling Bohm all week, the night before. But this one, how can you say it's not on another level? I mean, I'd have to have my head buried in the sand. And so I feel it's okay to say I have never, ever felt like this going into an Ohio State-Michigan game, and I know I'm not alone with that. And I feel like both sides feel that way. Bohm, you're a proud Buckeye. You often cry. The first note of Carmen, Ohio is played, and you immediately begin sobbing. I'm exaggerating, but that's part of the reason we love you. You're a very, emotional guy. How do you feel going into Saturday? Like, I feel anger in addition to, oh my God, it's the game.
First off, you're not being entirely hyperbolic in your sentiment, Chico, in that sometimes that first note of Carmen, Ohio, it does make me swell up a little bit. It's a powerful note when they let those first 3 or 4 notes ring out. But I digress on that. Okay. As far as the game, Chico, I feel really good about it this year. I just feel like I feel like Ohio State the players feel embarrassed for having lost 2 in a row, because this is a game where you constantly got burned on explosive plays. They got pretty ugly from an Ohio State perspective, and guys were just not playing up to expectations. And I think this year, more than in a long time, they really want to answer that call. I think that they're going to rise to the occasion, and I'm feeling optimistic about this one.
Yeah, it's not even, I'll say this, the amount of, anticipation, and it isn't necessarily centered around, oh yeah, I think they're going to, I honestly don't, I do think they're going to win, but it's not like, oh, they're going to go out there, they're going to kick their ass. It's not like that. It's just that everything since I have been able to appreciate this rivalry. And by the way, top of the hour, we're going to talk to Eric Casillas, CBS Sports HQ, proud Michigan guy. We will have some sort of wager. I don't know where this is going to go exactly. I don't know how it's going to go, but it's going to go just after 1 o'clock. But I've never had an Ohio State-Michigan game check every single box to this level. It just hasn't. It never, ever has. And I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break, because we got to test out EK's sound. Those Michigan guys, they're on off sort of thing. It confuses them at times. But we'll test the sound with EK here during a quick break, and then we'll come back, talk a little more Ohio State, Michigan, and then we're getting into it with our buddy EK from CBS Sports HQ, and get ready for this big one, huge one coming up on Saturday. Chico Borman Show, more to come right here on the Big Play Sports Network. Alrighty, welcome back. Chico Borman Show on this Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, and of course, this is the big party night. Sure, Bohm, you going to be out and about? You going to be entertaining all of your big fans?
I'll be working.
You'll be working.
Working late tonight.
Be working the scene. Is what you're going to be working.
Yeah,
that's how you roll. Bohm.
On assignment.
On assignment. Yeah, I love that. I'm on assignment. All right, so we mentioned earlier, Cavaliers, huge win against the Philadelphia 76ers, won 5 of 6. Coming up tonight, they'll be home against the Miami Heat. But Jared Allen, wow, pretty good performances back-to-back against Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid. Craig Porter Jr., love his story out of Wichita State. So the Cavs are playing some good ball. They'll entertain always tough Miami Heat coming up tonight at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. All right. I can't wait any longer. Let's make sure we've got him here. I've got my little Ohio State T-shirt. We're ready to go. Eric Casilius is our good buddy with CBS Sports HQ. I've known him for many, many years. He is a proud Michigan man. Got his law degree from Michigan. EK, first of all, how are you? Happy holidays to you and the family. How's things going?
Thank you very much. Two things. One, I love playing the heel, right? And this is a role I get to play this week. Like every actor wants to play the bad guy. Playing the good guy, it's easy.
But you're not acting.
It's more fun to play the bad guy.
You're not
so
acting.
I get to play the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right, no, but I'm hamming it up for you guys, right?
Sure.
So just so you know, this is for entertainment purposes only. I do respect Ohio State. And once we hit go, we touch gloves, then that will be a different thing. So you just have to know that this is for entertainment purposes only. Number two, speaking of entertainment.
Yeah.
I didn't know when Bohm was just talking, he said he was working tonight, I didn't know Chippendales was open on Wednesday night. I mean, I had no idea.
Well, it usually isn't, but the demand that came in, they put it out there, and it was sold out, they said, in like 8 minutes. So Bohm, that's how he rolls, man. I mean, he gives the people what they want. Gives the people what they want. Okay, so the respect. Here's what I said before the break. Like this whole asking questions about Harbaugh and Day and respect. They can't stand each other. Do they both respect with the programs, the teams? Yes, that's all we need. And I think you said, and I feel the same way. Michigan's a very, very good football team. If you're an Ohio State fan saying the opposite about Michigan, or Michigan saying the opposite about Ohio State, you're delusional. You're kind of, honestly not somebody I want to hang out or talk with, even if you are an Ohio State fan, because that's stupid. But with all that said, let me ask you, and I'm being 100% genuine here. I'm not trying to go down a trail. Since the last time we've spoken, because there are developments constantly, has anything changed? Honestly, has anything changed with events that have happened, the linebackers coach, or not? I'm just curious.
Yeah, of course it has. I mean, look, you can't. Where we are now in the process is Michigan's linebacker coach and Connor Stallions appears like were coordinating for him to try to steal signals in advance. Okay. And that guy's been fired. And there is a rule that says if you're the head coach, you're responsible for everything that happens in your program. There is absolutely, at present, today, Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving. I don't know what's going to happen in an hour, tomorrow, next week, whatever. But at present, there is absolutely nothing. There is zero evidence that would suggest that Jim Harbaugh had anything to do with this. But you are responsible for whatever happens in your program. That's the rule. So he took the 3 games. That's what we know. Might more come out? Yeah, absolutely. But now it's kind of hard for Michigan to play we're the complete victims. You can say everybody was doing it. You can say Harbaugh didn't know about it, but you can't say you're a complete victim anymore. That's for sure.
Okay. Let me ask you about Harbaugh specifically, and just if we go back a few years, and this isn't to rub it in, but obviously Urban owned him for a while. It got to the point where, are they going to fire this guy? They go 2-4 in the COVID year. He's going to have to take a pay cut. If they're just average, or they're 7-4 right now as opposed to 11-0. And this thing breaks, are people in Michigan just like, you know what, get him out of here anyway? I mean, he hasn't really done what we wanted him to do, so let's use this as a catalyst to get him out. Do you think?
Well, if he wins on Saturday and the Big Ten title, he's going to the playoffs 3 straight years.
No, right. But what I'm saying is,
but I mean, if he was a bunch of 7-4s every year, yeah, I think people would be like 7-4 doesn't get it done in Michigan. I mean, it's the same thing at Ohio State. This just in: Ohio State is not a better football program than Michigan, and Michigan is not a better football program than Ohio State. All right, you're just not. So, would 7-4 8 years in a row fly to Ohio State? No, it wouldn't. No matter who you were, no matter if you were an alum, no matter if you were the quarterback, no matter if you really wanted to be there, you've got to get to the playoff, baby. You've got to beat Ohio State. You've got to beat Michigan State. And if he had never been doing that, he'd be out. But he is doing that, and he's doing it regularly now. And he may do it again this year.
Is he doing it legally? No, I wouldn't go. Eric Casillas, CBS Sports HQ, is our guest. You heard me, I think, when we were setting you up, when I was talking about
oh, you're setting me up all right. Oh, sorry, legally under your breath.
I was
wondering.
wondering.
Let me explain something to you what this week means. I don't wear red clothing this week. I only wear blue. I don't eat any red foods. Tomorrow at Thanksgiving, you can take the cranberry sauce, and I'll tell you where you can cram that cranberry sauce.
Well,
that will not be on my plate. All right? I don't want to hear your scarlet and this and the other thing. All right, you're red. You're not scarlet. All right, you're red.
Yeah, we win. I mean, it doesn't. Scarlet, red, we win. I mean, that's a winning color. It doesn't matter.
Now, red.
I don't.
And you know what? You're out this week when we take it out again.
I actually don't get into, believe it or not. I don't. The idea of like the X out on M's and stuff. People want to do that. That's fine. I don't. Partially because it's too much work for me. I don't know how to do it. And the other,
partially because you're an Ohio State fan, so you're not quite sure if it's an M when you see it or not. I mean, I get it.
Right. Thanks, EK. But yeah, it's I don't. But as far as checking all the boxes, okay, I've been a fan pretty much my entire life since I obviously was there in the 90s, and we've talked about that with Cooper, and my gosh, it was just such a, he just couldn't get it done.
Wonderful time.
Right. But there has never been, for me anyway, a year where every box was checked. Not just, okay, Big Ten conference implications, sure. National championship and national scope, sure. Bragging rights are always on the table, but this is even more so now because it's, for 2 years, Ohio State lost. Was that mainly because they were stealing signals? Michigan side's going, hey, you know what? We don't need your signs. We'll still kick your ass. So, and then just the pure animosity and the scandal that is still playing out in front of us. I have never, ever in my life seen an Ohio State-Michigan game with this much, like, all the ingredients are there. Every box is checked. Agree or disagree?
There was one a few years ago, and both teams came in undefeated. The Beanie Wells game. Bo died that morning. That was pretty important, too. That was the first time it really, both teams came
2006,
in undefeated. Yep. That's the one that sticks out to me as well. But this is the same thing. This is right there. These are the two. In my adult lifetime, these are the two where you would look at it and say, yeah, I mean, of course, it's important every year. But these are the two where you're like, I might trade 2 other ones for this one to get this one. And I'll say this, the pressure's on you guys this year. You better win this.
That's fair.
Michigan's going to make all the excuses if they lose. They're going to say, yeah, you got us on a technicality and you took away our coach. You didn't do anything wrong. And that's the only reason you got us. And you whined to the Big Ten because you knew you couldn't beat us fair and square. And that's what they're going to say.
In fairness,
it's going to be that narrative.
Yeah. No, okay, you're going with what the narrative is.
Jim Harbaugh has done nothing wrong. As of right now, Jim Harbaugh has done nothing wrong. There is zero evidence. Zero.
Well,
give me
in a vacuum,
give me all of it.
Yeah.
Give me all the evidence against Jim Harbaugh personally. Come on, let me hear it.
Okay, well, that's fine. I guess I would say this is the guy's second suspension of the year, and the one right after the one. And by the way, hang on a second. The one that he did come back from already, right after he came back, he said, we are going to take this program as far as compliance to his words, not mine, gold standard. If this is the gold standard, I'd hate to see the bronze, because what are they doing with a bronze standard there?
I understand why you want to change the question, but you are changing the question. What direct evidence do you have that Jim Harbaugh did anything wrong here? Do you have any?
No, but the people that know, the people that are important do, and that's all that matters.
You have none.
I have common sense. Here's what I have. I might not be. Here's the thing.
You're taking them off the sideline. And you're taking them off the sideline because you need to. Because you need to. Because you need to. That's what you're going to get if Michigan loses.
Okay, let me just say this. You're a member of the Mensa Society. You're a very smart guy. I've never disputed that. What I have is common sense, okay? I might not be blowing away people with SAT scores, but I'll tell you this, I have common sense. And if a guy is linked, like this guy's linked, and I'm just supposed to all of a sudden go,
Who's linked?
Harbaugh!
What's the link? What's the link?
Right, so getting on the sideline, this has been going on for how long? Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, let's move on from this. So what makes
I know that everybody who's been involved has been fired and isn't with the program anymore. Everybody who had any knowledge at all is gone, and it was one guy.
By the way, Ohio State wants him on the sideline. They pushed to get him on the sideline. I totally believe that. We all want him.
I know.
Yeah, they did. They absolutely did. Yes, because we know it's going to – because you guys play that victim card more than anybody. You got playing the victim card more than anybody. So, essentially, this is just –
win.
All right. Do you mind if I have a few – can I ask you a civil question without you interrupting me? God almighty. Is this what you're like in court? Is this what you do in court? And they have to say –
yeah, of course I do.
Counsel, Chambers, now.
Listen.
If
you aren't every once in a while, then you're not working hard enough for your client. If I was your lawyer, wouldn't you want to have to hear counsel, Chambers every once in a while?
Okay, so let me ask that. Let me take that point and fast forward it to Saturday, because one of the things Harbaugh has been saying to Sharon Moore is, dude, you're going to have to, in addition to making these critical decisions, I need you in the ear of the officials. And we don't think about that, going into the game, but Sharon Moore isn't used to necessarily doing that. I think you're right. I mean, to use that lawyer analogy, like, hey, you're not fighting hard enough for your client. You're not fighting hard enough for your team if you're not every now and then going, hey, what the hell was that? You're telling me that's not a hold? You're telling me that? So that might end up being a bigger part of this, which is why I want Harbaugh on the sideline so we don't have to hear this whining excuse when they get their ass kicked.
If they lose, it will be because Harbaugh wasn't on the sideline because you wanted him out.
Oh, let me ask you,
that will be the only reason.
What makes you confident in? And it's fine. Like X's and O's though. Like just looking at this game, X's and O's, schematically speak. What makes you confident that Michigan is going to be the better team on Saturday and is the better team?
Because for 2 years in a row, we have physically put you in a headlock and noogied you in the trenches in this game. That's the truth. And you know it and I know it. We have been the bigger, badder, tougher group of men.
Mm-hmm.
We have been for 2 years. Now, I'll be fair. You were 15 straight years before that. So let's not make it seem like that's the way it is every year. But for 2 years in a row, we have been the bigger, better hombre, and we wanted it more, and we took your heart and soul in the game. And I want to see if we're going to do it 3 years in a row. Like it's become, this series just had some trends. Let's be very fair.
Sure.
There's been a run.
Sure.
And I wonder if you are still, right now, tough enough to stand up to the Michigan men in the trenches, because you clearly and unequivocally were not last year and were not the year before.
Okay, and that's fair. I would say this year, obviously, Jim Knowles and this defense have been completely different, and if you haven't watched a lot of them, that's fine, but they've changed a few things. Here's what I would say though about the physicality. You're right, the last 2 years. I keep hearing, and I love this, back to the Penn State game, right? We didn't even have to throw a pass in the second half. Normally what that implies is we just ran it down their throats and scored. You guys didn't. You guys had to punt 4 or 5 times. Like, the only reason that you ran the ball against Penn State as much as you did and did not throw a pass is because you knew Penn State's offense couldn't do anything. You didn't want to put it – there was no need to put it in the hands of J.J. McCarthy, but the idea that, like, we ran it all over Penn State. They didn't do shit against Penn State on the run.
And they couldn't do anything against you either, right? They couldn't do anything against you either. But I'll tell you what, Notre Dame did some things against you guys.
They did. Interior scares me.
Yeah, and they did. And Notre Dame is not going to be what Michigan is on offense. This is the next level coming in now, right? That's the game. If I'm an Ohio State fan, I'm saying to my guys, we better be better. We better be tougher. Not better. We better be tougher than we were that day, than we were that night. Because if we are that tough that night. And I know after the game, Ryan Day said we're so tough and this and that thing, and they were gritty. There's a difference between tough and gritty, right? Your kid was gritty. He made throws when he needed to. You got a hell of a running back who's back. You're clearly a gritty team. You got all 5 stars everywhere. You're talented. You're gritty. But gritty is not the same thing as tough. I'm talking about play in, play out, slugging it against somebody that is every bit as physically talented as you are.
So
if you're as tough as you were that night against Notre Dame, you'll get beat.
I think what's interesting, a couple of big differences in this game, really on both sides. You guys didn't have Blake Corum last year. We didn't have TreVeyon Henderson. And TreVeyon Henderson is playing, as well as any running back in the country.
Great.
Makes a huge difference. Now, on the flip side, here's what concerns me about Michigan against Ohio State's offense, is that Michigan has very good, you mentioned Notre Dame against Ohio State. Notre Dame had success in the interior of that defensive line. You've got a new center. Remember, they didn't expect Luke Whippler to leave for the draft. He did. Carson Hinsman, a redshirt freshman, has been okay, but he struggled in that regard. How much has he grown up? Well, we'll find out on Saturday afternoon. Then on the flip side of that, though, I look at like Penn State and Chop Womack was kind of having his way with the tackles. And I'm looking at Ohio State with JT Tuimoloau, get used to hearing and saying that name, and Jack Sawyer. And I'm looking at those guys going, ooh, boy, against the tackles on the edge, Michigan might be in a little bit of trouble.
Go pull out the tape. I like Sawyer. He's got the sleeve tattoo, 33, tough. But Sawyer is a feast or famine. Sawyer's a home run hitter. And I'll tell you, Notre Dame got the better of him.
Yeah, he's come
there
on.
Were spots where Notre Dame, that was not the game that he wants the NFL scouts to see.
True. The last few games he has been on, that's what I'm saying. And it's all about, this, it's all about getting your guys, not only keeping your guys healthy, which Michigan knows with Corum and Ohio State knows with Henderson, but on top of that, man, you got to be playing your best football. And you're right about Sawyer early in the season. I think last week was his best game yet. So I think about those two guys on the outside. Can you tell? We got to kick this thing off.
I'm going to run at Sawyer. Look, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun. I mean, look at your kids didn't win a church raffle to be on the field on the edge for Ohio State. Like, you got to be the best kids in the country, and they are. And we're going to see. It's going to be fun. But I'll tell you, it's not one play. Sawyer will have a big moment in the game. He will have a big moment in the game. But I wonder if he's the type of guy, you know this in the NFL, where my tackle ran right at you. We ran it down your throat a bunch of times, and you got sacked in the second half, and you're dancing around, and everybody celebrates that you had a great game. But when you look at the box score, you're like, yeah, not real. You know that guy. And I wonder if that's what Sawyer's going to be faced with in this game, because they're going to run out. You know, he's a big dude, but he's not a crazy big dude. And a tackle is going to be much heavier in the seat. And here we come, downhill at 33, cramming it on you, and let's see what you do. 4 quarters into this thing.
Is Michigan's offensive line that good? I think.
Guess what? We gonna find out. Guess what?
Well, I mean, I just know, like I said, I go back to the Penn State game. They were finally they haven't been tested all year until Penn State, and then Penn State, it's like, well, we're just going to run the ball. And I think, like I said earlier, not to keep battering home the point, or maybe I am trying to battering home this point, is that, you know, usually when you hear somebody just ran the ball the entire second half, oh man, what they averaged like 3 yards a carry. They couldn't do. I mean, we'll take that all day, because then is JJ? I don't know. Does JJ remember how to throw football? It's been a little while.
I mean, I think he'll be all right. I mean, you know, here's the point: when you got a future first-round pick in the NFL draft and you don't need him, it's all right. I'll be okay with that. We'll see. Okay. It's gonna be fun. I promise we'll show up.
What is our?
I promise we'll show up.
All right, one more thing before we get to the wager, and I do want to ask a little bit of NFL, if that's all right with you, buddy.
Of course.
So Eric Casillas, CBS Sports HQ, is our guest. Follow him on Twitter at FantasyEK. If Connor Stallions walks into a bar in Ann Arbor this weekend, what's the react? He's celebrating. Am I right? He's celebrating. I don't think
he's. Knows who he is. Nobody knows who he is. He could be sitting next to you, and I wouldn't know. I'd be like,
okay.
Who's that guy?
But if he walks in and somebody hang on a second, and somebody says, "Are you Connor Stallions?" Yes, I'm Connor Stallions. It's verified he's Connor Stallions. Then what is the reaction in a bar in Ann Arbor? I think he's celebrated. He's not looked at as a villain.
I think if you're the guy who got Jim Harbaugh, you're the guy who sullied Jim Harbaugh's good name.
Thanks for allowing us to beat Ohio State too. No, drinks around the house. Anyway,
listen to you badmouth my coach when there is no evidence, which you admitted. You said the word no.
I don't even know if I need, like I said, common sense.
No evidence.
Common sense. I know you don't like to hear that as an attorney. You can't go to a jury with common sense.
Ohio State Law School. I think that is actually the official model of the Ohio State Law School. We don't need evidence.
Did you ever go to a jury? Hey, did you ever go to a jury and say, go in that room and use common sense? Because,
No, I said, because I would get up and I go, you know why he wants you to use common sense? Because he has no facts or law on his side.
He said these are the facts in case they are disputed. What is our wager? What is our wager for this game?
Here's what I want. You can ask me what you want. Here's what I want. When Michigan wins for a third year in a row and physically dominates you and takes your heart and soul like we've done the last 2 years and proves that we are physically and mentally superior athletes and men, which we have done each of the last 2 years.
Michigan men, yeah.
When we do that for a third straight year, I want your alarm. Your alarm when you wake up in the morning, your alarm when you hit snooze, and your alarm every time you have it on your phone to be the greatest fight song of all time, the Michigan fight song, for 1 year until they play again next year.
Wow.
Every morning when you wake up, you have to hear Hail to the Victor. Every time you set an alarm as a reminder.
Like ringtone too?
Not ringtone. Just alarm. Just reset an alarm.
Boy, I'll be like Cosmo Kramer setting my mental alarm and making sure that thing doesn't go off.
And every time you are in a sound, blissful sleep, you know what wakes you up? The greatest fight song of all time. Knowing we own you.
Bohm, what do you think? I'll let you weigh in on this.
Just the alarm. Not your ringtone, not your text ringtone, not just when you set an alarm.
So I get up in the morning.
On your little digital clock radio, the giant one that says Wednesday afternoon this big.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, right?
Okay, I'll do that. A full year is going to be, but I will do that. All right, for you, I just want you to come on, and I want you to just sing the Ohio State fight song, and you can't go like drive on down the field, man.
First of all,
yeah.
I thought the fight song was an instrumental. I mean, I didn't know you guys got words. I didn't even learn.
Isn't this guy funny? I mean, if you didn't know any
I
better,
mean,
Boom, wouldn't you think he was?
I know the reason you say the Ohio State University is because if you get the Z right, you get admitted. Right? I mean, everyone knows that. That's why you do it. I mean, you guys have words in that fight song? And by the way, I thought the fight song was A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P. I thought that was the Ohio fight song.
See, this is I'm kind of letting you have this moment because
if you really have a fight song, I'll sing it.
Yes,
I mean, how many words can it be? How many lines can it probably be? It's Ohio State.
Because Saturday at 3:30, I'm letting you kind of just kind of go ahead and take in all of this and soak it all in and enjoy it. Because Saturday at 3:30, you're going to be a hurting pup. And if that phone rings and you see, I don't know how you have me in here. Is it Chico Borman? Is it Chico? Is it Brutus Buckeye? I don't know, but if you see
it's Bones, and then the second word rhymes with witch.
All right, real quick, NFL Browns. How about our Browns now all of a sudden? Okay, who are you truly buying in the AFC? Because Kansas City at the top, I'm fine with, but they've got their own issues. Surely you believe in Patrick Mahomes. But give me like your top three in the AFC right now.
I think Kansas City, because going into Arrowhead in the playoffs, I know people have beaten them, but it's not going to be easy. I think it's become Baltimore, right? I mean,
yeah.
I say this I've said this to you for years. Every time I think Baltimore is good, they let me down, and they lose to you guys. Every time I think Baltimore is overrated, they go beat the Lions 38-6. Like I am wrong every single time about them. Like I basically give it up. I don't bet on them. I don't bet against them. Whatever I think of them, I'm usually wrong. So if you ask me, I mean, it's kind of by default, it's Baltimore, right? And then on the outside poll, like, don't tell anybody, is this team.
You can't trust the Jags right now, can you?
By the way, I had the shirt on for this question. I get no love for that.
Why are you wearing a Jacksonville Jaguars?
In case you ask me about it, that's preparation, Holmes. That is next level. You don't even know what it's
Holmes.
like.
Did he just drop a Holmes on this show? That's mine, Holmes.
Yeah, that's what you get.
All right. EK, listen, man. Always fun. Maybe even some trash talk. I might even just have to do it during Thanksgiving, for God's sake. Continue to trash talk and send those text messages. But you have a good time. I'm going to go listen to that nerd fight song that I sent you last week or so with a bunch of nerds celebrating I don't know. It was like I don't know what that was, like an organic chemistry quiz that they all got, and they just got together and sang the fight song. It was really cute.
Yeah, there's this class called organic chemistry. It's not made its way to Ohio State yet.
Oh no! My roommate hated that class, so I know I can.
I have no doubt that you are unfamiliar with organic chemistry or even quizzes for that matter. But eventually, at some point in time, that will make its way to Columbus.
These are the facts of the case, and they are
not disputed.
Talk to you in a bit, buddy.
Good luck.
Happy Thanksgiving.
By the way, I will leave you with this on the website. I actually picked Ohio State with the points. I hope Michigan wins the game. I hope Ohio State covers, and that way I totally broke your heart.
Whoa, say that again. I couldn't hear you. You said what? Ohio State what?
I took the points.
So you took Ohio State with the points? That tells me somebody's not as machismo and all this bravado that we're sending your. Tells me that this might not be as strong as you might want it to be there, okay? I mean,
first of all, you got me for saying
I'm just using common sense here. I don't have a law degree. But.
I got in trouble for Holmes, and you used machismo on the show.
Machismo is much better than Holmes. I mean, what are we going back to Crockett and Tubbs?
Yeah,
You're gonna be coming in.
Listen, man, you want to play one of them? I got the outfit for the other one.
You have an aqua blazer. I guarantee you have an aqua blazer in your closet, no doubt.
Why are you saying it past tense? Hat, AKB, hat.
Enjoy your Thanksgiving, pal. We'll talk to you soon. We love you.
Good luck. I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Yeah, you know what that is? Let's just call it what it is, Boom. That's the response from a man who knows that it's the time is over. The time is up. The gig is up, the scandal's up, and this little win streak. I love that too. Like, oh, we're on a win streak. How many have you won? 2. Win streaks are like 11, 12, 13. Win streaks are what Urban Meyer did every freaking year. I don't even want to say damn near. He broke Jim Harbaugh. I guarantee you somewhere in a room in his house, Harbaugh, after going 0-7 against Herb, at one point or maybe multiple occasions, he went into some room, his den, his study, whatever, and just bawled his eyes out. Like, how does this guy have my number like this to this degree? How does that happen? I mean, I was successful at Stanford until they hated me there. I was successful with the Niners until Jed York hated me. And I'm successful. I thought I was going to be at Michigan until I haven't done anything, and then they still hate me. I think he's cooked. All right, we'll take a timeout. We come back. Bohm's got a little fair or foul, and I'm fired up for this game. I cannot wait. Bring it on, baby. Bring it on. Chico Borman Show. More to come right here in the Big Play Sports Network. All righty, welcome back. It is a Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve, but my oldest nephew, when he was very young, he didn't quite get the concept of how many days until Christmas. So he would always say to me, I'd come home for a few days before Christmas, and he'd always say to me Uncle Mike, how many tomorrows until Christmas? And now I'm like, how many tomorrows until the Ohio State Michigan game? Like a little kid. I really am. By the way, we're going to be off tomorrow, obviously, with Thanksgiving. I'll be back with you on Friday, though. Bowman and I will be here Friday beginning at noon, from noon to 2, talking a ton of Ohio State and Michigan. Anthony Schlegel. Slags. I mean, he's with Bobby Carpenter and our wrap-up show each week. Schlegel will join us coming up on Friday at 12:15, 1 o'clock. Bill Landis, as he does each and every week, getting into the X's and O's and breaking it down with rivals and dotting the I's. So cannot wait. Other stuff to get to as well. We do that right now with a little fair or foul.
And Chico, I want to start things off with Ohio State because there was some. Well, okay. First off, I got a few Buckeye things here I want to talk to you about and bring up to you. Firstly, Buckeye standout cornerback Denzel Burke spoke with the media yesterday, and this courtesy of Adam King down at 10 TV in Columbus. Burke basically talking about how much this game meant to him, and he came out with a bit of a bold proclamation.
The past couple years, the bad brawls, the respect between coaches, and just doing it for the city of Columbus. It's important here, and we're gonna get it done for it. I'm very emotional. I'm trying not to get out of character, but this game means a lot for us, and we're gonna get it done for the state of Ohio.
Chico, fair or foul? Do you think this will be some bulletin board material for the Wolverines?
No. I mean, they're saying the same. That wasn't anything. It wasn't anything personal. Just, they want to get it done for the state of Ohio. I don't think that's.
Said gonna get it done. That's a proclamation.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Chico.
they're saying the same thing. That's not. I mean, honestly, if Michigan needs that, then God bless them. That they really have no chance. Yeah, it's going to be a great game. I think what I took away from that is Denzel Burke at the end saying we're going to get it done for the state of Ohio. Because do you know Browns rookie tackle DeJuan Jones? I heard an interview with him. I think it was with Browns Radio. And he made a little joke, but he's like, yeah, you know what? I kind of owe an apology. Last 2 years didn't get it done for the state of Ohio. And it's like, dude, it wasn't just you. You know what I mean? But they take this stuff. If you don't think this is a big deal, it's a huge deal. And what I think is awesome is when you get some kids, because you get recruits from all over the country, right? Some kids, when they get to Columbus, it's like, oh, yeah, I know it's a rivalry. But then by the time they're out of here, they know, oh, my gosh, this really is. And you just can't help but get engulfed with it. I mean, it's what it's all about.
Moving on, Chico, I got a little bit of a philosophical question for you. Do some philosophizing here today on the Chico Borman Show. I heard I was talking to an old pal who likes to bet on the Wolverines just in case the Buckeyes lose, so that he feels less bad about Ohio State losing.
Foul. No. Dude, don't. I'm not even saying you've got to bet big on Ohio State, but that is completely and totally foul. Don't do that. God almighty.
Yeah, I know. I hate that. I hate putting any faith.
You know what's also great about this rivalry? If you win, and I'm not just talking about the players, and obviously they're putting their heart and souls out there, but as fans, if you win, you celebrate it for 365 days. If you lose, you suck it up for 365 days. I don't want, well, you know what, it wasn't that bad because I won. No. This is why the rivalry's so great. It wasn't too bad. I won $600 because I bet on Michigan. No. Sorry to make fun of your friend, but no, don't do that.
No, it's fine. I disagree with the strategy as well.
Yeah, foul. Totally foul.
I just found it interesting. Now, my last Ohio State question here on today's Fair or Foul, Chico. we've done some comparison of Harbaugh and Day rivalry being similar in a number of ways to Bo and Woody. Now, would you say that in all of Ohio State Team Up North sports lore, Harbaugh Day is second to Bo and Woody in terms of all-time coaching rivalries?
Yes, because yes. I mean, it's a 10-year war. They did an entire documentary. They've written books on it. All I'm saying is this game, and that's why it's the ultimate compliment to Bo and Woody in the 10-year war, is that this game has all the implications that you need, the stakes that you need, if you will, but it has the paranoia, it has the animosity, it has the trash talk. Every box is checked. So, but no, I mean, Bo and Woody that's in a class all by itself. That's why you have documentaries and books and all that stuff about it.
Yeah, I agree. It's in a class of its own. That's why I was, implying second to Bo and Woody. But it is interesting to draw the fact that Bo and Woody were so paranoid that each of them was stealing plans or sneaking into the facilities. Meanwhile, Harbaugh, he actually went out and did it.
Yeah.
And the difference in respect level, because Bo and Woody had such immense respect for each other and they respected them enough to respect that integrity. Harbaugh has no respect for Ohio State, and Day in turn has no respect for what Harbaugh has done, and it's just an interesting contrast to me.
Well, here's I'm going to take it a step further, and again, this is all part of the build-up process for this. It's making all of us upset, but a good upset. Is that I'm hearing a lot from Michigan fans, and by the way, they've really kind of made themselves look like idiots. I'm not just saying that because I hate them, but they really are sounding like idiots. But somebody on there last night was saying, yeah, you know what? It got so bad for Ohio State that they finally they had to turn Michigan in just to try to get some sort of an advantage on this thing. They had to turn them in as far as trying to get an advantage on this thing, and that's the only way they could do it. Well, wait a minute. What about? I'm sorry, Bowen. Was that a Christmas present for you? Go explain what just took place here at the door.
So there was a knock on the door, right? And
Yes.
this little lady with glasses and a beanie,
Yeah.
was not speaking English to me. It's just it was a question posed to me, and
What did she hand
showing
you?
me these.
What is it?
Speaker and headphone splitter. And she was just asking me a question in a language that I wasn't familiar with, and so after she asked me twice, I just reached out and took them.
I always love how and it's I'm not mad, but you can obviously see that there's a live show going on. People are still yo, hey, what's going on, man? What do you think? Dude.
It's
The bathrooms, are they, is it just down the hall? Yeah, just down the hallway, dude.
It's like how they have the people of Walmart. We need a people of Burke Lakefront.
Right, exactly. But, Michigan people are now saying, oh, well, see, Ohio State, it got so bad they had to resort to turning hard. No, how about the fact that it got so bad your coach was going to get fired? He was out the door, and this is what he turned to. Now, and again, this is where I go back to the common sense. Okay, you can say, well, there's no evidence to prove. Great. You know what? Like I said, I don't need evidence. I have common sense. I have eyeballs. I have a brain, what's left of it, and I know damn well that he knew and has known for a while. So, Michigan fans, I kind of feel sorry for him. What's Desmond going to say on Saturday? Every week, because there's been so many developments, every week seems to, with the developments that happened after what he said the previous week, seem to just shoot it out of the water. What's he say now? Why was the linebackers coach fired? Well, Harbaugh statement. Well, I think there was a statement put out because of that. Okay, and
Yeah.
I know he can't talk about it, but that's.
I see where EK was coming from, and he did acknowledge that, okay, there's definitely some wrongdoing that took place here within the coaching staff. You may not have
playing
direct
the victim.
evidence.
Yeah, and that's just it. Stop playing the victim card because you're not the victims at all.
Well, Chico, I want to shift gears to the NFL
Turn me
now.
up just a little bit there, Bone. Just a little bit. There we go. All right.
Now we're cooking.
Now we're cooking with gas, Bone.
I want to go to the NFL, where Tom Brady, he was talking with Stephen A. Smith, basically about how unimpressed he is with today's NFL product. And I want to play this clip for you. Let me know what you think.
I think there's a lot of mediocrity in today's NFL. Yeah. I don't see the excellence that I saw in the past.
Why not? Why not?
I think the coaching isn't as good as it was. I don't think the development of young players is as good as it was. The rules have allowed a lot of bad habits to get into the actual performance of the game. Mm-hmm. So I just think the product, in my opinion, is less than what it's been. I look at a lot of players like Ray Lewis and Rodney Harrison and Ronnie Lott, and guys that impacted the game in a certain way, and every hit they would have made would have been a penalty. You hear coaches complaining about their own player being tackled, and not necessarily, why don't they talk to their player about how to protect himself? We used to work on the fundamentals of those things all the time. Now they're trying to be regulated all the time. Offensive players need to protect themselves. It's not up to a defensive player to protect the offensive player. A defensive player needs to protect himself. I didn't throw the ball to certain areas because I was afraid players were going to get knocked out. Mm-hmm. That's the reality. Wow. I didn't throw it to the middle when I played Ray Lewis because you knock him out of the game, and I couldn't afford to lose a good player.
Yeah, so I think Tom Brady certainly, it's safe to say, knows what he's talking about, and I think in a lot of regards he's not wrong, as we've seen the NFL evolve over the years. But do you think that it is a more mediocre product, in his words, compared to the NFL of yesteryear?
Okay, first of all, let me just say there are so many layers to this because, first of all, let's just point out, not that I need to, everybody knows it, his career spanned, it went so long that even like he still played in the beginning when you were able to make some hits. Now, ironically, like he gets hit low and one of those rules has changed because he was hit low. He's not wrong in what he's saying. I miss that personally. But again, I have to also be realistic and objective enough to know that, like, okay, I'm going to be one of those that everybody does it. Well, it was much better back in my day because, yeah, guys like Ronnie Lott, Ray Lewis, Steve Atwater, those guys, they were headhunting. Now, the reality is we've got guys today, and nobody wants to see this, that are, if they're around to talk about it, and their lives are nightmares, living nightmares night and day. And that's not cool. So my problem with the NFL has always been, do they really care about that, or do they care about they just don't want the litigation? It's the litigation part. They don't care about the players. Because if they did, they wouldn't be, again, let's try to get 18 games. Let's play games on Thursday night. And yeah, from a football junkie standpoint, or if you're a fantasy geek like I am, yeah, you want more games are great. But for the players, you can't say in one breath, we care about the safety of our players, it's our number one priority, and then try to add more games to the schedule. What they're trying to do to meet halfway is, okay, we're going to outlaw some of this stuff that used to happen. As far as the bad habits, I think he's 100% right. But I think we're getting to a point. Remember, I talked about Tom Brady's career spanning such a long time that he got like the tail end of the bad stuff and then into what they're, trying to regulate it to. Where I think now you've got the levels where kids are learning the game. The, Pop Warner days, the Pee Wee days, whatever, into junior high, into high school, then into college, where this stuff is now, it's being taught. You're not having to tell guys, don't do this, we got to do it a whole nother way, because it is difficult. The best thing about that clip, though, is Brady admitting, I think that's awesome. He admitted, I would not throw over the middle of the field to, say, Julian Edelman or whoever, because Ray Lewis could have taken him out. I didn't want to have him taken out, and he was going to take him out. So I just avoided that area altogether. That's telling. And that's kind of why we say, like, oh, that's why that area was so great. But Brady makes a lot of good points. I'm going to say fair in a lot of what he said, but I will say, as far as the game being better, yeah, but I think the game now is getting to the point where we're not gonna really be thinking about it too much, because those kids are now getting coached in the way that it's being taught now and officiated now, and that's very important. That's because you had too much gray area of, okay, this is how a coach has taught it, this is how a player's learned it, and then all of a sudden, halfway through college or he makes it to the pros and you got to totally change your style? That's not easy to do. So, first of all, really good points from Tom Brady, but I love that end quote about, I just wouldn't throw to certain areas of the field because I couldn't afford to lose my guy. Wow.
Chico, onto the Indianapolis Colts, where I'm not even going to get into those Jim Irsay comments, but
He's an idiot.
yeah, he is. I think he might be one of the next owners that might be on his way out, if possible. But that's besides the point, because another transaction that the Indianapolis Colts did in fact make was parting ways with Darius Leonard, who I just remember the way that he reached out to Anthony Walker when Walker signed with the Browns, current Browns linebacker, and how he talked to him like a mentor and everything.
And reached out to the Browns, too, and their fans and told them how great of a guy they were getting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know that he would actually clear waivers and that the Browns have a legitimate shot at him, because I know the Browns are way back in the waiver wire. But fair or foul, the Browns need to at least put in a claim for Darius Leonard.
Okay. Shaq Leonard, maybe. Here's the problem with Darius Leonard. And the Colts don't know how healthy he was. This finally came to a head because he recently then made a point and kind of lashed out at the team about playing time. And but the fact of the matter is, I think, and I honestly had to text Nick Shook about this yesterday because I felt like I went to go take a nap a few years ago and Darius Leonard was one of the best defensive players in the league. And then all of a sudden I woke up and it's like he's available because the Colts just let him go. He's had 2 back surgeries that he's been very slow to come back from, and it resulted in a neck issue as well. So there's a lot going on health-wise with Darius Leonard, and I don't have to tell you, you're talking about a linebacker position. So, to say I don't think they need to, and I won't say that they will, because I just don't know if Darius Leonard is capable of getting back to that level. And if he's not capable of getting back to that level, then you're probably not going to be that interested. I will say this, though. I loved watching Darius Leonard play. And he was kind of a guy, he wasn't a first-round draft choice. He wasn't somebody that a lot of people talked about. He was a stud. But unfortunately, injuries have gotten the better of him. But apparently the emotions got to him, too, and he kind of lashed out at Indianapolis, and that was the final straw.
All right, Chico. Well, last thing I want to get to here, this article from The Athletic polled over 80 anonymous NFL players, right? And so they asked, who do you think the best player is in the NFL? And nearly half the respondents said Patrick Mahomes.
Makes
which,
sense.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's the best quarterback right now, but in general, I think he's not playing like the best one right now.
Well, there's reasons for that too, though.
Sure.
But yeah, he's
receivers are letting him down.
You say the best player in the game. Best player of football.
I would take him first.
Yeah.
That being said, Chico, over half of the 84 players that were polled listed Aaron Rodgers of the Los Angeles Rams, who, look, former Defensive Player of the Year, multiple time.
No, Aaron Donald.
Oh, did I say Rodgers?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was going to say,
Aaron Donald.
If Rodgers is getting any votes, then we got. Yeah.
Oh, I never expected to make that slip up. Aaron Donald, I'm sorry. One of the most dominant defensive defenders in all of football right now. However, it feels like even less votes were garnered towards Cleveland Browns' Myles Garrett. But one vote that was in his favor from an anonymous player said, quote, I was going to sit here and debate quarterbacks, but there's your answer. That guy is out of this world.
Well, okay, give me the percentage that Myles. I think Patrick Mahomes got like 40% of the vote from these anonymous players. I think Myles, are you looking?
I don't see the actual percentage.
Yeah, the percentage I think is Myles Garrett got like 7%. So foul that he's not higher up on that list. Absolutely. Aaron Donald. See, some of these are just going to be, when you're talking about anonymous players, and it's going to be very subjective, some of this is going to be like Aaron Donald and his entire career. Right now, he's leading the league in sacks. I don't think there's a more disruptive player on the defensive side of the ball in football than Myles Garrett. I mean, and that's not to take away. I love Aaron Donald. TJ Watt's a stud. Myles Garrett right now is just he is. How do you defend him? You can't. You can't.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping that, I mean, it feels like he should have already burst on the scene by now. He should have already garnered more like league-wide attention, but I think this year he's just been a wrecking.
Part of it is the Browns. Part of it is obviously what's transpired the last couple of years. They're not necessarily the darlings of the NFL anymore. But part of it is, and hopefully we're talking about this, knock on wood, you get into the playoffs and you start making those sacks and those plays late in the playoff game to win a playoff game, maybe even go to a Super. Now all of a sudden you're at the top of everyone's mind, and that's the next step for Myles. It's not that he can't do it. He obviously can. I think better than anybody in the league. But the reality is now you've got to do it at the next level, which isn't just about him. It's about his team as well. But he does that, then I think that the respect throughout the league for him is going to go way, way up, and justifiably so.
I don't have a fair or foul for this, but just a little tidbit that I thought was interesting when they polled players about who the best trash talker was. And of note, former Cleveland Brown Austin Corbett was referenced, and this anonymous player said, quote, "I think his trash talking is pretty elite. It's the psychological warfare. It's so nice, you don't even know what's going on." Corbett, of course, now with the Carolina Panthers, and it sounds Andrew Luck-esque, so I just wanted to throw that tidbit out there, and that is fair or foul.
I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson was the number one. I think Jalen Ramsey was in there.
Keenan Allen got some votes.
Keenan Allen. I want to go to his former teammate, Phillip Rivers, because to me, Phillip Rivers, one of the most fascinating trash talkers ever, because he doesn't swear like the 10 kids we laugh about. Like, he's extremely religious. But he talks nonstop garbage, but he never, ever swears. I mean, guys talk about it, how funny it is, but he is very, very competitive. He gets really, really upset easily. But throughout that an entire game, he would never, ever swear. It's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of amazing. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back, wrap things up, and get you ready. We got Thanksgiving tomorrow, of course, but back with you again on Friday. More of the Chico Borman Show in just a moment right here on the Big Play Sports Network. All righty, folks, welcome back. It is the Chico Borman Show, closing moments here on this Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving, of course. We'll be off tomorrow, and certainly hope everyone enjoys their Thanksgiving and your family and friends and all that good stuff, and the football. We'll be back with you again. I'll be back with you again on Friday from noon to 2. We will talk to Bill Landis from Rivals and Dotting the I's, as we do each and every week before Ohio State games, but this one just a little a bit more important, and former Ohio State linebacker, and you can catch him with Bobby Carpenter on our wrap-up shows here on the Big Play Sports Network. Anthony Schlegel. Cannot wait to talk to Schlegel. On Friday. We'll do that around 12:15. Folks, if you need bet credits for football season, the Big Play Network is presented by Tipico Sportsbook. The Tipico Sportsbook app has your traditional bets like the money line, spread, and point totals, but also lock-in player props. And check out our Big Play boosts every single week to back your favorite Cleveland teams and athletes with the best odds in Ohio. Get in the action, load up for football season using promo code BIGPLAY100. Again, Big Play 100. You'll get $100 in bet credits on us plus a $30 dog pound bet. Bet with the Big Play crew all season long with Tipico Sportsbook. Thanks to EK, Eric Asilius for dropping by. If Ohio State loses, I've got to wake up. My alarm clock, my cell phone alarm clock has to be set to the Michigan Hail to the Victors. God, I hate that song. It's actually a good fight song, like if it were yours, but because I hate it, obviously. And I'd have to have it that way for a year. I would have to sing the Ohio State fight song on the show next time we visit with him. So we'll see what happens. But good stuff from EK. Thanks to Michael Bone. Again, as we said, everybody out there, enjoy yourself. Be safe tonight. If you're going to go out and have a good time, maybe catch the Cavs, just be safe and be smart out there. We'll talk to you again on Friday, beginning at noon. Right here on the Big Play Sports Network for all of us here. Make it a great Thanksgiving. See you.